Hello, chat. This is Magic Fish Radio, and we are back with our Tuesday night game, Vampire the Masquerade V5. And this is Magic Fish Radio. Echo. Okay, I've already fixed the first audio issue. Hooray! And I haven't accidentally ended the stream instead. Yay!
We're proud of you. Good job.
So, if you can't tell, based on our ongoing absences from this space, the barometric pressure has been turning my brain into guacamole more or less before each and every game stream. But at least on Tuesday nights, I don't have to GM. So I'm hoping the adrenaline rush from being a player will wake me the fuck up. Otherwise, this is Magic Fish Radio. We stream TTRPG stuff on Tuesdays and Saturday nights. Tuesday nights, Vampire the Masquerade. We're all in black and white because it's the 1920s, and it's V5, but most of the new lore hasn't happened yet. It's a good time.
And we're inventing new lore all the time.
Yep, it would be interesting if we do a time jump in this game, maybe. We'll see. On Saturday nights, we do the complete opposite of old-timey, where we do NWOD in space, which is all the New World of Darkness splats in a far-flung, spacey cyberpunk future full of awfulness. And
which
horror.
Is why we now have the third game in the week where we use the Vampire 20th Anniversary Edition to take place in the Modern Nights. And then we've got the whole spectrum covered. Vampire Rainbow.
Vampire Rainbow. Okay.
What?
I'm like, I don't know if we can say we cover a whole spectrum of gaming if we don't have a D&D game. Oh no, we ran an indie. We ran Fat Magic once.
We have.
So we've done D&D. We've run the gamut.
How fat is the magic?
It's glorious.
Startlingly honey-based.
Well,
Anyway.
I was playing the honey cleric, so yeah.
The what?
It's on our Discord. We'll link it later. It's a real fun.
Long story short, it was food magic.
So many puns.
And candy monsters.
We did
Yes.
We did not prepare the guest GM for the amount of puns they would have to withstand from our group.
Good.
I'm not sure if I feel bad about that. They seem to have a good time, so okay. Anyway.
You shouldn't, because it's great.
More producers. Oh, we don't use cash. We don't use cash here because no one has any. However, you can still affect the outcome of the game by using your channel points to buy +1s for the players or the GM, or willpower, or downgrading messy critical, or
bestial failures to messy criticals.
Yes, that.
Basically, you turn an absolute failure into a stunning success, but a stunning success that borderlines on a masquerade breach because something went horribly, horribly wrong, and you reveal just the tiniest flicker that you're probably not a vanilla mortal anymore. But no one's rolled that badly yet, so unfortunately, it hasn't come up.
Unfortunately.
And there's an option there to put in a suggestion for the name of the spaceship of the Exit to Eden crew on Saturday night's NWOD and Space game. Once we have enough, the players will vote on them. And
We gotta name that ship.
I mean, you haven't really been on it in a while. You haven't really used it as a spaceship for a while. But we'll talk about that, for the outro. Saturday's good. Assuming I can function on Saturday, it's gonna be a real wacky game.
Fingers crossed.
So moving over to the person actually running the festivities tonight while I run the background stuff. John, who are you, and what are you going to do to us today?
I am literally everyone else in the world. Hello, good evening, and welcome back. If you're watching us live, thank you, and I appreciate your time. If you're watching us in the far-flung future, either on VOD or on YouTube, thank you. I appreciate your time. I hope you enjoy what I'm about to do to these three people. Though this might be very, very lore-driven and role-play-driven again, unless somebody here is just really demanding adrenaline, at which point I can happily derail this and give you something that'll cause some adrenaline pumping to occur.
Oh, I remember what happened the end of last game. I'm expecting to already start in a sea of adrenaline.
Okay. So yes, thank you. Welcome. Here's hoping that you will enjoy your time with us as much as these three will hopefully enjoy the ringer that I run them through. And we will now, I guess, have everyone introduce themselves, starting with who is directly below me from the... I will actually look at the feed on Twitch now instead of going how it actually goes on the chat here so that it goes the right way. And, oh, it's exactly the same this time. Okay, so then, Dracus, if you would be so kind, directly below me.
Hi, I'm Dracus. I'm playing Vern Quincy this evening, who is the resident Nosferatu. Also a very young vampire who's going to probably fuck some shit up, on a social level today.
I mean, again, if you really, really want, there can be violence tonight.
I'm kind of hoping not, but it might happen.
You are the character who is most specialized for cracking heads.
Violence. This is true.
Solo NOS violence. We can arrange this. This can happen. You can ask the wrong question and piss off the wrong people.
I'll probably get fucking killed.
It's fine. just impress somebody enough so that so it only knocks you out and you get pulled out of the dirt by someone cool.
Right, and this brings us round to Eerie.
Yes, hi, I'm Ari Baki. I'm playing Isabel Quincy, Vern's human sister. Vern's sister when she was human, now turned a Ventru.
Biological sibling.
Yeah, biological sibling.
Other clan.
I've been saying mortal siblings.
Yes. Let's be real. They are siblings.
Yes.
Ride or die, baby.
Quite literally, kind of died.
I am honestly picturing now a more modern Knights version of the two of you, with Isabel screaming "Ride or die," and Vern just sitting there going, "I got nothing left to live for."
Yeah.
And this now brings us back to our wonderful channel producer, and the reason we're all actually here, Ms. Chris.
Hi, I'm Chris, or at Ms. Crystal on social media stuff, and I'm playing Ms. Lori. Oh, I wrote the wrong name. Ms. Lowell, who is sometimes Charisse and sometimes Riza. I believe when we left off, she was Riza, and in the back of a cab with a the Parisian Malkavian Primogen and the La Sombra Primogen, which the second the GM started describing, so the shadows seem to coalesce into tendrils around you. Oh. But it's not as bad as I thought it was, because these are apparently campires, and that's okay. But yep, so, hashtag Malk life. Sometimes I'm one character, sometimes I'm the other. It's a good time.
Yes, and for anyone who may be here and may be complaining about that's not how it is in the core books, either in the originals or in the V5 by this time. I don't care. I like the La Sombra, I like the Chemise, I like the Salubri. They're everywhere I want them to be.
If you can't tell from, the fact that we run NWAD in space, I'm not super strict on book lore on this channel.
Oh, I know.
Yeah.
I'm saying this to the audience. Don't assume this is canon. It's not. They've already met 3 people who are... Well, one of them is a Methuselah in the book canon, but the other 2 aren't, but they are ancient within werewolf and mage traditions, but I thought it was funnier to make them kindred. I'll let you guess which ones they were.
I don't know.
Moving on.
one bottomless crisis at a time, please.
I'm gonna have to go back and check my notes now.
Well, Dracus, you could also just rewatch the VODs, which are on our YouTube channel!
This is true. My notes are probably more concise if I can decipher them, though. We'll see.
Plus, then you don't have to listen to my voice play again.
Oh, hi, Dave.
That's not the problem here. It's my voice.
Hi, Dave. My friend Dave's here. Space! but we're not in space yet. We're in Paris.
I mean,
Paris is burning. Has burned, will burn, is burning. Also, that's reference to something completely unrelated, but
you would
if you know
think.
what it is.
You gotta stop saying shit like that.
Actually, well, I mean, we've got 2 trans people in the cast, so. Do you really not know what Paris is burning is?
I don't.
See me after class. And no, ask me on the Discord. It's fun.
Right. Anyway. When last we left the coterie divided amongst their various endeavors, dear Isabel stayed behind to hopefully answer the questions of any authorities that might come by, while her compatriot Vern went to go speak with the Nosferatu about any information he might be able to pull. And Riza Lowell, not Charisse, went off to go speak with the owner of the Dusty Spade to see if they could acquire some information before being pulled into a carriage by several dark and brooding figures who all looked eerily similar to each other. And after riding for...
By the way, players, we have 3 + 1s in the pool. The GM has 20. Chat, remember, you buy us these shiny things with channel points, so do that.
And then once again, to spite the players, there are like 16 drops for me.
Oh, wait. We also have, so we have 3 + 1s, 1 willpower, and one crit alt. One crit fix.
The critical conversion.
1 crit conversion. There we go.
Yeah. And after riding for a few blocks,
anyone was wondering if he wants to play 4-player Smash.
Mute. Okay.
Yes. Thank you. I appreciate
that. Okay.
When after riding for a few blocks, you were greeted by the revelation of one figure using obfuscate sitting on the bench across from you, and then another revealing themselves from the shadows. Oh yes, they were both obfuscating, but they were doing it using different disciplines.
Okay, fine.
Obfuscate.
One didn't want to reveal himself, but then the other one called him out, and he just went, fine. And it was brought to your attention a conspiratorial notion made by the Primogen that several of your people may have been replaced. And after a shocked gasp from the players of the coterie, we cut because it was 11 o'clock at night. We all have work tomorrow. But this brings us back into the carriage. The sound of wheels working on the roads of Paris, the sounds of people still out on the streets, some happily singing the songs of drunkenness, others just trying to get home and get by. And you are left here with this little bombshell sitting in your lap, ticking away ominously. Dear Ms. Riza, what would you like to do with this information? I assume you have questions.
Is this the GM asking me, or my Primogen? Or both?
This is the storyteller asking you.
Well...
Right now, the Primogens are waiting to see your reaction to that bit of information.
It's rare that... Well, the thing is, what happened was Riza had looked into the Malk network to find more information, and what she got was a traumatic backlash. Was it Riza or was it Charisse? I forget. One of them got a traumatic backlash. It was Riza.
It was Riza.
Because Riza would make that impetuous, that impetuous leap of logic and go straight for the brain danger. And not only did she...
husband, brother-in-law, still not entirely sure how how Riza's relationship to your sire exactly pans out.
She'd consider him a husband.
All right.
That weird husband-dad combo that so many vampires enjoy.
So your polygamist husband went into the Malk network to search this out for you.
And not only did it floor Riza with the trauma, this apparently echoed across all the Malkavians in Paris, who were suddenly smelling smoke and hearing screams, and no one had noticed that this had happened at the time, as if someone had erased it or contained it, which is a terrifying prospect, especially after we just got out of London, where there's a Ventru Methuselah sleeping under the city, trying to poke into the madness network because he's bored. And
I mean, he's doing it while sleeping, so it's not a conscious act. But when
that
you
makes
have
it worse.
when you have Auspex 10 and you don't have something to occupy your brain, this is what happens.
So I think as the Malkavian Primogen announces the bombshell and all of the pieces fall into place where, oh yes, this was covered up as it was happening because now there are doppelgangers. I think Riza is just sitting there, just blinking, like,
There's been something of a static fuzz in the network in Paris as of late. A bit of white noise, barely noticeable, but ever present. My poor other children didn't seem to notice it, but I could constantly feel it and could not find its source. But I always felt it strongest when walking amongst my people in mass.
And it seems like my associate just plugged right through that layer of white noise.
Yes. I just realized I haven't been putting on an accent for her. My apologies. I do believe that someone was doing it to affect the Parisian Malkavians, and your associate's foreign interference was an unprepared intrusion. So he was able to walk past security, as it were, and acquire this information. And when he breached that wall, it left a crack, and people started noticing things. So I thank you for that.
On the other hand, making it obvious to all is going to make it that much more difficult to be clandestine in fixing it. I assume?
That is a distinct possibility. And if they have been so bold as to carry out an act like this under the city's laws, I can only imagine how bold they will be in a response to try and cover up the leak of information. The other figure next to her shifts uncomfortably. And it has not just been the Malkavians that this has apparently happened to. There have been several Les Sombres in the city who have been acting different as of late. Originally, I chalked it up to something going on with them personally, but when this was brought to my attention, and then a few other bits of evidence, things started to look as though there may have been some coercion used. And then someone tried to murder me, which I did not appreciate.
My condolences. Who, what, oh, that Bruja, what was the Bruja's name again? Tremaine. So, do you know who began the rumor that it was Tremaine who burnt down the Haven with no kindred fatalities?
Like any rumor involving him, it sort of spontaneously appeared. I don't think anyone really needs to start that rumor. His disdain for what he perceives to be lesser clans is no secret. brute is little better than a Nosferatu himself.
Hmm.
Yes, his prejudice is showing. He's La Sombra.
Yeah, but he's willingly in a carriage with two Malkavians. It's Paris, whatever.
He's more scared of her than he is worried about his lack of standing by hanging out with you.
So, is this you summoning me to assist in this investigation, or is this your gentle suggestion that I leave town as quickly as possible?
Well, that depends. Would you like to be helpful to a primogen of a powerful and old city?
I would. My, shall we say my lesser half is gonna be a little timid about it.
Should we ask her?
She's gonna look like a deer in headlights, but, you're welcome to, you're the primogen. So, I'll leave that up to you.
Would you like to convince her?
She's pretty convinced I don't exist. We have a very tenuous relationship, built on ignorance and fear.
I see the crack in the brain, the divide in the psyche. Would you like me to put a bridge there for a little while?
Ask me again at the end of this conversation. Let me consider it. Considering what else you are asking of me.
I'm asking you to find out which of my children has been replaced, who is responsible for this, and if at all possible, to bring me their head and their heart on a plate. If not possible, to tell me where I may find them, that I may take their head and their heart myself. Because they killed Kindred under my protection, in my city. And I do not appreciate it when people hurt my kindred in my city.
Well, I am not possessed of your power and wisdom. Oh, I am completely on the same page of you in that. We have to take care of each own. We have to take care of our own. No offense, sir.
I'm here to take care of the Kindred of Paris. Obviously, I prioritize the Les Sombres, but if anything happens to any of the other clans, it directly affects my own. How long do you think it will be until the Les Sombres are being hunted in the streets after they have gone through all of the ones they think they can get away with?
I know what that... sadly, I can relate to that plot. And if this is a Sabbat situation, then any La Sombra and Shamisi in the city are gonna be in a lot of trouble once this breaks. If it breaks.
This is a far too subtle and convoluted a plot for the Sabbat.
Really? Okay. But, well, I mean, I don't know a lot of anarchs to know the term subtlety. So, do you think this is some kind of an inside like another clan? Or is it internal Malkavian bad decision time? Like someone's trying to... I have so many ideas. None of them good. Conspiracy mind. That's what we do.
All I know is that several of my kindred are acting out of sorts, and once I began to poke around at the suggestions of my associate here, I then found myself under assault from a hail of bullets fired from rifles. I was not able to see my attackers, but they were not firing traditional bullets, as these bullets did not just simply pierce through things, as they whipped by me. They left holes in them larger than the bullet should have. When we eventually recovered some of the spent ammunition, most of them were barely recognizable. They shattered upon contact with vehicle or wall as I dodged out of their ways, thankfully. My eldest child, on the other hand, I watched her head detonate as the bullet whizzed through her. So, I very much want this resolved. And unlike my wise and powerful associate here, I don't want you to bring me their head and heart. I want to take their head and heart.
That's Lasombra talking then?
Oh, this is Lasombra.
Okay, so the Lasombra got gunned down and blown up.
Oh, yes.
Oh, I'm not at all martially inclined. I am more than happy to just send up a flag and have you, carry out the remainder of this mission. Alright, so whatever this white noise is, it was targeting specifically the local Malkavians. So, madam, if you don't mind a terribly impertinent question, is there anyone local Malkavian that you suspect is, you know, horrible or just stupid enough to do something like this, or take part in it for another party?
The only kindred in this city who might be strong enough with aspects to do something like this would be me. And I know that this would be beyond my capabilities. This is someone using aspects in conjunction with another discipline. If I had to take a guess, perhaps they were using effects of chemistry or obfuscate, or possibly blood sorcery, as those would be the disciplines that would be most capable of doing this. Do I know anyone who possesses all of these disciplines and talents and would bear a grudge against the Malkavians to such a degree, who would then replace them and do the same to Lasombra? No. No idea. If I did, they'd all be dead. If I could figure out which one of my people had been replaced, they would be tortured for information, and then they would be dead. However, this fuzz exists around all of them. Someone did this intentionally. And it is only perhaps because I have a more deep connection and understanding of the network that I am able to hear it at all and feel it loudest in the heads of those who are or pretend to be my Malkavians.
So it's not just an area effect, it's almost like someone cast a spell on specific people.
Otherwise, I would feel...
I forget, did Vern tell me that there might be hunters in the city?
Yes, Vern did mention that there were 2 hunters that had been seen entering the city, but no record of them leaving.
And what did they give me a timeline on that?
The hunters appeared a couple weeks back, but then just sort of disappeared somewhere in the city. Like the Nosferatu lost sight of them at some point. They just wandered in round a corner and they just lost track of them.
And I did a good enough occult check to know that hunters can be just mundane idiots, but can also be surprisingly powerful in fucked up ways.
Yes, and based on the roll you made for that, I'm going to cut off this line of questioning right now and go, this is probably not something a pair of hunters could pull off.
Not a pair of them. Maybe they only noticed 2.
It's possible. But what you have seen written about the powers of hunters would, unless there's a whole series of powers that you are unfamiliar with, I guess we'll find out when the Hunter 5 book releases. There's nothing in your in any of the records that you ever came across that would suggest they would have this ability, or an ability that would affect just a group of kindred that they weren't in the midst of dealing with or actively hunting. But even that would be in a very small scale, like, we're in the Haven. Activate the True Faith powers.
Yeah, also, I mean, it's not outside the realm of possibility that hunters could learn illusion or obfuscate powers, but why would they pretend to be kindred? Unless they had a really long game in mind.
Yeah. It's unlikely. Again, unless there's something you've missed, or something you just don't know about because you never found that bit of information, or no one survived to record that information.
Could I? So, the Lasombra Primogen described the exploding bullets stuff.
Mm-hmm.
And I just, in Boston, had some interesting experiences with some magic bullets.
Mm-hmm.
Can I try and occult brain on that if these might have been magic weapons of some kind, or if it's science? Or at least I can rule out if it's magic. What is my science? My science is like one science, skill spec chemistry.
I mean, you could, based on the models of rifles that are available now and the way he's describing it, it sounds like these rifles were being fired over greater ranges than they should be capable of, and were inflicting much greater damage than they should have been capable of. So it's much safer to assume that there is some form of magic being applied here.
From what, and she motions to, did the Lasombra Primogen give his name?
Neither of them have actually given their name.
From what the good gentleman just related, I suppose, those weapons could have been magically enhanced somehow, but add that to the pot of potential kindred powers all mashed together, and I'm even more confused, unless it's some kind of new blood sorcery that I'm not familiar with.
You are familiar with magic to an extent?
Yes.
And he reaches into the pocket on the inside of his jacket, and he pulls out a small velvet sack. As I was going to say, many of the bullets had broken down, presumably because they were carved in like this one that we managed to recover.
Oh, more carved bullets, goodness gracious. Does this look carved like the evil bullets I saw before? Out of character, I'm assuming no, but in character she would still ask.
Yes.
Is it snake people again? Or is it lizard people again? The snake people are fine. People are not involved. Anyway, is a cult check?
This would technically be investigation right now as you look it over to see if the method of marking is similar. So this would be a wits investigation, please.
Can I add my aspects? Because I'm looking at it really closely. I am a microscope.
Yep. Let me just double check if heightened senses required a rouse check or not. Nope, it does not.
Okay, but it does include a hunger die.
No, it does not. That would be your rouse check.
Oh.
No, your hunger die would apply to the check. Yes.
Oh yeah. Okay. That's a much better bunch of dice.
Also, tell me if you score multiple 10s and how many you score.
I did not get any 10s. I got 4 regular successes and no ones.
Okay. This is an important thing. Going forward, when you're reading off your number of successes, let me know how many 10s you score, because that can actually have a greater impact on the success of what you have. So if you roll 1 10, 2 10, 3 10s, let me know.
Okay.
Because there are sometimes bonus effects for criticals, and rolling multiple 10s are criticals.
Mm-hmm.
So it's not just the number of successes you have, but how you achieve them.
Okay, so that's
4 successes. With 4 successes, you see that the methodology is different, but the idea is the same. These bullets have been carved to have enhanced effects upon them, but they are not carved using the same tools and the same style. It's like knowing two different artisans made something similar, but there's a difference in the tools that were used. So you're relatively certain that the non-canonical snake people, thanks to reviews from the test audience and from the producers upstairs, were not directly were not related to this, but it seems that it came from a similar school of thought, something that maybe someone had been exposed to and is attempting to replicate, or who shared the information with the scaly folk in reverse.
Do I recognize the glyphs from blood sorcery or mageness?
That will require your intelligence occult check.
Okay.
So no auspex for you here.
That's fine. Yes, I use auspex to investigate my own brain.
Oh god, has that tumor always been there?
I am not in the mood to joke about that right now, but I will laugh about it later. Oh, and skill specs sorcery?
Yes, you can apply your skill specialization here, yes. So you add your additional die.
That's a big bunch of dice.
What a pleasing sound.
Oh, Jesus.
It is. It is.
That's 3 1s. Jesus.
But were any of them your hunger die?
Yes.
How many of them were your hunger die?
There's only 1 hunger die, so 1.
Okay. I didn't know how many hunger die you had at this point. So, okay. But how many successes did you get?
1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, that's I got, that's 1, 2, 3, 4. 4 regular successes, a 10, so that's 2 more successes, and it's a 10. And 3 1s. Yes, Atrakis, this is some drama. This is dice drama.
Fact is, you succeeded. You avoided a bestial failure of some kind. With that many successes, you notice that there is definitely markings of blood sorcery here. And there are other runes that you notice carved in here that aren't related to mage or what little research of were creatures has been made. It looks like it has similar roots to blood sorcery, but you're unfamiliar with the symbology. There's something about it that looks vaguely familiar, but you can't quite place it. These are symbols that definitely were not on the bullets or antiquities that were used against you in the pilot storyline. But the scripting style appears more kindred in nature, like the blood sorcery runes.
Do you mind if I copy this?
If you can.
Well, you said it was carved, right?
Yes.
So she has her little notepad, and she has a pencil. So she's gonna try and press. It's gonna look kind of awkward, but she's gonna press down gently on the bullet and kind of do a rubbing.
All right.
Or try to. I don't know if you want me to roll for this.
Yes, you should definitely roll for this as I reach my D100.
Oh, Jesus Christ.
You should roll. What should this be? In order to make sure you maintain a steady hand at this point, we'll call this...
Actually, you know what? No, I'm just gonna draw them. You know what? Yeah, I don't have to do this weird or fancy. She's just gonna copy the symbols into her little notepad, far enough away from each other that hopefully it doesn't combust.
Okay. In that case, make a dexterity academics check to make sure that you copy it correctly.
I wanted to know what was going to happen when you rolled the D100.
Probably, if it was weak enough, my guess is it would either do something magical or just crack, because, you know, carving bullets is a weird thing to do.
Well, first we need to see how well she copies everything before I roll the D100.
It was Dex what?
Dex academics.
Academics.
Okay.
So a steady hand plus your ability to understand these runes. Or basically your ability to copy notes from one thing to another.
So my history skill spec does not counter into this?
Not in this instance, no.
Okay.
If you want to make the argument that you want to use occult instead, I could be persuaded to allow you to use that instead.
If there's a chance of this... She wants to make sure the magic doesn't combust her notebook, so yeah, I think she's using occult.
Excellent. Then make this dexterity occult to see how well you copy over the magic runes.
And skill spec sorcery?
Sure.
Okay. Because she's basically trying to do anti-sorcery and not make the magic happen. Yeah. Ooh. 2 10s. And a 7. And no 1s this time. So just 5 successes with 2 10s.
Critical success on copy. Excellent. Excellent. Good, good.
I'm gonna blow up the carriage. I don't like that laugh because that's usually my laugh.
Do tell.
So, as you're slowly rolling the bullet in your fingers, trying to copy it down as the carriage jostles you up and down, and you gently and carefully copy it so that you can properly compare these to other printings and other records later should you come across them. The instant you finish drawing down the last character from this bullet, you feel the shaking of the carriage stop. And as you lift your head, everything has turned to shades of gray. And the Lasombra Primogen is frozen solid. The Malkavian Primogen is moving slowly, her face slowly contouring into confusion as she seems to have some resistance to what's going on. But you have become the focal point. And as you look around in confusion, you see reflections on the inside of the windows with curtains pulled over the outsides in order to keep prying eyes out. And the reflections look like yours until you start to turn your head away and realize that they don't turn in tandem. And realize that all of these reflections are staring back at you. And then the features shift. They shift from yours into another face. The face shrouded over by a large brimmed hat. The lips become slightly fuller, the nose a little thinner, the eyes slightly less round, and the skin tone a much darker shade of brown. The lips fill in with a dark black color. I was wondering how close you would get. Thank you for properly joining the game. It's so nice to actually meet you. I look forward to how this proceeds. This is going to be fun, Ms. Lowell and Ms. Lowell. You feel panic scrambling in your brain. You feel your husband trying to rush to your defense inside your psyche. And then you hear the sound of a heavy thud, and his panic scrambling cease. No, 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 none of that. And you watch as the figure in the reflection begins to lift up another figure, and you see the image of your dear husband. I'll be holding on to this for the time being. Can't have you digging around and revealing all the secrets too soon. Oh, don't worry. I won't do anything to what's left of him. I mean, it'll finally be nice to have the whole set. And the figure just fades, all reflection in the glass disappearing. And then with a sudden start, color returns. The carriage resumes motion. The somber Primogen blinks because your face was pointing down and now you're pointing at a window, and he didn't remember seeing you use celerity at any point. And the Malkavian Primogen is now looking at you in confusion. I only managed to catch part of that.
If you want to just look at the rest, go at it.
Wait, what happened? What's going on?
I don't know if I can accurately describe what just happened in verbal words.
The masterminds just revealed themselves, old friend. Or to a point. Apparently, they know Miss Lowell. Bad reputation, or so it sounded.
I mean, that's not my usual reputation.
But that means this one knows you better than your reputation.
I mean, unless it's a backward glance. As in reputation that has not yet... I have preceded my reputation.
It is possible. But since this threat seems to have taken from you and another Malkavian...
wait, a cult... Okay, time out. So, Chris knows things about the true Bruja.
Mm-hmm.
Do I need to roll for Charisse to know that Temporis acts kind of like celerity backwards, in that everything slows down, and if this is reputation she doesn't have yet, this could be someone doing a time travel?
Considering how rare Temporis is and the fact that it doesn't technically exist in the V5 mechanics...
please.
Yeah. Well,
Shut up, V5.
I'm saying that because that just shows how rare the knowledge is there is of it in the V5 continuity.
Mostly because people describe Temporis as just crappier celerity.
Yes. But it's great fun watching someone use Temporis to lock down a black spiral as they are then riddled with bullets.
Ooh. Yep.
That was fun.
So it might not be the... So do you need me to make an occult check?
Yes. This either needs to be occult or academics as you apply to the history of the Kindred. So you do not get to add your sorcery specialization.
Okay. Do I have anything else? I mean, I know Latin, but I don't think that counts here.
No, it's not gonna... not gonna help.
And it's not Malk stuff, so my lore doesn't help. Okay, int occult or wits occult?
This would be intelligence occult.
Okay.
To see if you've managed to read anything in regards to Temporis.
I heard some Toreador bitching about these mythical true Bruja. Oh, it's just celerity, but backwards, the posers.
Yeah, don't say that to the usurper of the antediluvian slot. He's still bitter he didn't get it.
I thought Troika was a woman.
Troyle's always been depicted as a man. His professor was a woman. The original Bruja antediluvian was a woman, as far as...
I think I got that backwards. I thought the original Bruja was a man and Choila was one. I guess I got that backwards at some point.
Haha, Weather, you couldn't crush my gamer cheese brain. I recognize Temporis. I've never even... Well, no, I have played in games with the true Bruja, but she didn't do anything. She just wanted to be able to say she played one. It was not terribly creative as play. Nice lady, but that's 5 successes, one of which is a 10.
Okay. You're familiar with Temporis. It's a discipline that no one's seen or heard used ever since the usurping of the Bruja antediluvian spot. It's possible there's still a few true Bruja running around, but they've been trying to keep that on the down low. But as far as you know, Temporis doesn't allow for that kind of communication.
But the idea that instead of using celerity to speed something up, this instead slows everything else down.
This felt a lot less like time itself slowing down and more your perception of everything being sped up. The seconds were being drawn out. Your brain was firing its synapses at 100 times their normal rate. That entire conversation took place within the span of a half second from the perspective of everyone else. It was because the Primogen was reacting to it to a slower extent, suggests that this was auspex, or auspex used in conjunction with something, but focused on you. And she could only react to it because of her high levels in auspex and her proximity to you.
So it's not that everyone else was suddenly moving through time jello, it's that everything sped up for me in my brain. And so it seemed like everyone else was frozen in amber.
Yes.
Okay. And describe the person, darker skin tones.
They had
wide brim hat.
They had a wide brimmed hat which covered a good deal of their face. You couldn't get really good details. You could see that their eyes were a little less round than yours, slightly more narrowed. Their nose was a bit thinner and their lips a little fuller. And the depiction had them wearing some black or other very dark colored lipstick in the reflection.
Did they seem male, female, or neither?
Oh, this figure, they presented as female. The facial features were definitely female. The hat was definitely more of a... It would definitely be more of a hat you would expect to see on a woman. Whether or not they physically are or aren't, because flesh crafting or just how they feel like presenting, you're not sure. But this one, at the very least, in the reflection, seemed to present as female.
And she seemed to know me.
Mm-hmm. And dragged away Mortimer's psychic consciousness. Which, again, implies a use of auspex. Possibly in conjunction with something else. But you now feel a void in the network where Mortimer used to be. Not just floating in your head, but his node in the network has now been severed.
So, could a non-Malkavian do that?
With high enough auspex and access to another discipline or two, probably.
Madam Primogen, if you just want to see what happened, that was unsettling.
She just stares into your eyes, and you feel this soft fuzz, and it's you feel almost as if things rewind for a moment and then play in fast forward. It's like, oh great, I get to relive that whole disturbing experience all over again at high speed.
Yeah, but, I can study it again. Rewatch it, pick up other details.
Oh, yeah. Do you want to try and pull out some more details while it's fast forwarding?
Yes!
All right, then make me a wits awareness check, please. Actually, you know what? Not wits, because you need to maintain a cool head while you're doing this. Make this a resolve awareness check, please.
Oh, that's actually better. Resolve awareness.
So you now need to maintain a cool mental facade as you now pry through all of this information.
Well, at least now I know it's not hunters. Oh, Jesus. 4 10s, a 9, and a 1. So Riza's so angry that she's just stark still.
Was the one on the hunger die?
Nope.
Excellent.
The 10 was
Were
the
any
hunger
of the
die.
10s on your hunger die?
The 10 was a hunger die. Is this the messy critical thing? What happens now?
Technically, yeah, it would be a messy critical at this point, but because of the nature of what you're doing, it's not exactly a case of take your hand off of her and then instead of like lifting the person's hand off, you wrench the arm out of its socket.
Oh no! I see. That was turn 1 bestial failure into a messy critical. Okay.
Yes.
So Riza gets scary.
Riza does get scary a little bit as you are hyper focusing on everything you see. A lot of the finer details of the face are concealed ostensibly by the shade provided by the hat, but then you realize that if this were real life, the shading wouldn't allow you to get that much detail of face shape. And that was actually an aspect of how they were projecting to you. They were giving you a vague shape of their face, but keeping out certain details.
They were projecting an illustration.
Basically. You recall when they were lifting up Mortimer, it looked like the fingers were actually sunk into the back of his neck and looked like they were starting to wrap around his spinal column rather than actually around his neck. Mortimer appeared to be completely just blanked out. He didn't appear to be in pain. He appeared to be in torpor, effectively.
The whole set. I wonder if that means all the Malkavians are both parts of, well, at least 2 parts of Mortimer. Hashtag Mulklife.
You recall some aspects of the clothing that they were wearing because you only got so much of a copy of yourself in the mirror, and they basically approximated that reveal. You could see the top bits of a frill to a dress here that did not cover the shoulders. But one thing that did stand out, you'd originally assumed it was jewelry around the neck while you were focusing in on their face. But now as it's replaying and you're focusing on everything, you realize that this was not jewelry around their neck, not like a choker or anything. It was actually runes carved into the flesh all the way around the neck. And they were still open, but were not bleeding. So the flesh was broken, but no vitae was leaking out. And amongst these carvings were the blood sorcery runes you saw, but also the runes you did not recognize. Again, written in the style that a kindred would write it.
But not necessarily Tremere bullshit that I am familiar with.
I mean, it looks like how a Tremere might have written it. It's possible this is just Tremere bullshit that's not leaked out from the Tremere. It's possible it's something else. I will say with that many successes and the fact that you're hyper focusing on them, there is this brief moment when out of normal reaction, you feel Charisse present with Riza at the same time in panic at what is happening to Mortimer.
Just like, oh my god, not now.
But as everything is fast forwarding and just as eventually Charisse fades back into the background, but as the Primogen is breaking off the connection and the fast forward ends, there's this bit where it almost seems to pause as she severs the connection, and you're left there staring at the cruelly smiling face of this individual. And then you watch as the lips begin to silently move. And then the connection drops.
Can I make out what those lips might have been saying?
Sure. In this case, this would be wits awareness, and this is going to be a fairly high DC, so...
I'll try it.
Because unfortunately there is no lip reading skill.
Can I use my aspects?
I mean, I suppose one might be able to use it as streetwise. Yes, you can apply your aspects. Because this is a fairly high DC, and you know, you don't necessarily want to not miss this. Not that it's important if you miss it.
You aspects my boyfriend away. I'm gonna aspects you to death, bitch.
Oh my god.
2 successes. So,
You pick up something. She definitely says a number. There's something else than you miss, and then it sounds like she says eat. Or maybe it was street. She might have been giving you an address, but you were only able to catch part of it.
So the 2 Malkavians come out of their mind meld.
Mm-hmm.
So, anyone you recognize, madam?
No, but I intend to become infinitely familiar with them when I peel them like a banana.
I get the feeling whoever this is, she's collecting Malkavians.
Possible. If they are, I'm going to peel through each layer of her for every Malkavian she's harmed. And I don't care how many centuries it takes.
There is a strange silver lining that I'm getting from the potential silver lining. So she said she wanted to collect the whole set and took my associate.
Yes, she did say that it was nice to finally have the whole set.
I wonder if this means that your missing people might still be alive?
Now, if that were the case, why would the addition of your,
friend?
Yeah.
Paramour.
Whatever term you prefer. How would collecting him complete the set if she is collecting Parisian Malkavians?
There's a lot about my associate I don't know yet.
He's not French, I can tell you that much.
I mean, you know better than I would, so I trust your judgment. Well, we've been thinking, all right, Haven burnt down, 10 Kindred killed. Someone with that much auspex who can steal effectively spirits, what if they're possessed rather than dead? But then why cover it up with the fire? No, it's lots of pieces. That was a very strange experience. So
he's still looking back and forth like, this is what they get for working with Malkavians.
I mean, we get there in the end. It's just the process is a little confusing. I apologize, monsieur.
It's I know results are gained. It's just a headache until we finally get to the results.
By transcribing the magical runes, the magic user just revealed themselves to me in a hubris, mastermindy kind of way.
Fantastic. Can you tell me where they are so that I may flay them alive?
Not yet, but they, in that process, took something from me, so I am definitely on team flay.
Excellent. So you will be helping us then?
Yes. I was already on the fence about it, but now I'm well over the fence, and I'll be more than happy to watch you work, sir.
I appreciate that. He eventually slams on the door, and the carriage comes to a stop. The door opens and he steps off. We will resume this conversation at a later point. I think you two have Malkavian things to discuss.
Family business. Thank you, monsieur.
And he closes the door and steps off into the evening. Well, child, since you have come and decided to involve yourself, would you like to warn your counterpart so she is perhaps better prepared?
I suppose. I mean, during that exchange, she kind of freaked out already, so I don't trust that she'll be able to. I don't trust her to behave in any kind of reliable manner, but yes, she should know.
When she stared, it was more like in the midst of a nightmare. The bridge I will create will be temporary, and I don't think she will realize exactly where she is. But you will have an opportunity to speak to her on equal footing and relay some information. And so she places her hands on either side of your temple, and there is a sudden sharp intake of air as Riza, you find yourself with the sun shining down on you on the streets of Paris.
Ah! Oh, wait. That's fine.
There are people walking past, talking and laughing, lovers arm in arm, the smell of baked goods and the noise of horses, the life that teems during the city in the day. Charisse, you find yourself sitting at a small little cafe's outdoor table, a cup of hot tea on a saucer in front of you, and you're just here waiting for Mortimer to finally come down from upstairs. Riza, you see Charisse sitting at that little cafe table by herself. And based on the way her mousy little face turns, you know she's looking around for Mortimer. She seems none the wiser to what's going on. You, however, seem fully aware. How would you like to handle talking to yourself?
Let's smeagol this bitch up. Okay. It's gonna get weird.
You're welcome. Testing the talents tonight.
Okay.
Oh, don't get too lax. She gave me this shit. You two still have plenty of crap to worry about.
Oh, good. Oh, this is unsettling. All right. And Riza just sits down next to her. Look, we don't have a lot of time. There's too much to explain. You are just going to have to trust the other woman that has your face. Okay? What?
Charisse, from your perspective, this woman doesn't look terribly much like you. I mean,
okay.
maybe if she was maybe if you were 15 years younger and maybe more inclined to wearing bustiers. Oh my, scandalous.
And makeup.
Yeah, so she's she looks like she might be a cousin, but no, you don't see same face necessarily. Like a big similarity.
Hello? Who are you? Does Charisse understand that it's daytime and that's wrong? Or is Charisse just like, ah?
Charisse is currently caught in a fantasy where she's on vacation with her loving husband.
Okay.
This is where she goes when you take over.
Aw, that's cute. Alright, who are you? It's like, who I am isn't important. Mortimer's been kidnapped. What? No, he's right upstairs. No. And Riza actually goes and just holds her mouth. Alright. Mortimer's been kidnapped. There's blood sorcery afoot. It's written down in your notebook. I copied it down, and the sorceress knows we're around. She has killed Malkavians. She has replaced them with doppelgangers or possessed them. It's still a work in theory. The Primogen is on your side and knows everything. It's like, what's a Primogen?
Oh no! When you start using kindred terms, she recognizes.
Oh,
them,
okay.
but,
Okay.
like, you're slowly drawing her out of the dream state. She understands and comprehends, but there's still this like terrible confusion of Mortimer's been kidnapped.
She's just like deer in headlights. If we even have headlights in the 20s.
Yeah.
Or there are headlights in the 20s.
Deer and lantern lights. Alright, this woman has... Whoever she is, she might be a Malkavian, she might just have ungodly amounts of auspics and some kind of blood sorcery. And... Look, I am here to help you. I need you to not run away and avoid me when I'm around. It's like... I have no idea who you are, but I mean, when I see you again, it's alright. I mean, you said some incredibly disturbing things, but you're telling me new information, and I like that. It's like... Alright, other me's a nerd. Alright, I need you to investigate all of the weird symbols in your notebook that I just wrote down. You will have the best research day of your entire life, I'm sure. Oh, but it's not the lizard people again. Oh, thank goodness, that was awful. But they are making magical murder bullets more murderous than usual using magic. Is it mages? I don't know. She seems kindred. Like the worst kind, but still. And she's basically put up a whole white noise thing on the Malk network so she can manipulate it whether or not she's family. Oh, that's terrible. People shouldn't... Wait, is this Mithras again? It's like, no, we're in Paris, we're not in London, it's not Mithras. Gods for Fent, you figure this out. Alright, so what do you want me to do? Just don't panic. I am your friend. If you don't run for me, I will give you all of the occult information you want, and then you can analyze it and do all the boring research bits. Like we usually do, but, you know, you're now a willing participant. That doesn't sound so bad, actually. What is your name? Don't worry about it. Just you'll see.
Riza.
What?
As you offer her the ability to hand her all the occult shit she wants, you feel a weight on your side as you are now carrying a satchel bag that contains all of the information that you have just gained to give to her to read while she dreams.
Oh, okay. Here is an occult lab. Here is a whole bunch of things for you to study and read. Have fun. Oh, Lord. And Charisse is just dumps a bunch of books on her little cafe table, knocking all of the tea off. And she just starts immediately shuffling through things and organizing them and taking out her little notepad. And Reese is just like, well, I think my work here is done.
It's at this point everything goes dark and your eyes blink open again in the carriage.
That was more unsettling than I would have expected, but I know myself well enough to know how to keep her happily distracted but also useful.
And now she will wake up with all of this information without having to double check all of your work.
I mean, I'm not as good at taking notes as she is. Let's just, you know.
It seemed like this would happen.
Thank you. This has been interesting, and this is a temporary connection?
I've already severed the connection. You would
Oh.
need someone with at least my level of auspex in order to create this bridge for you.
Interesting.
Or to gain a high enough command of auspex yourself. But in your case, you might require both participants to be willing. So you would need to convince her to leave the door open, as it were.
In which case, she would have to believe I exist.
That depends on how many messages you leave her. Like actual messages. Like letters. Hello, it's me, your sister Lisa.
Oh, I could do that. That would be hilarious. She thinks she has an actual evil twin. Anyway, okay, matter at hand. Focusing. I can focus when I want to. My brain is now a full-on conspiracy board. What do you need from me?
Find me who is responsible. Bring me this information. If possible, bring me their heads, but information is what I require. And then I will come down upon them with all the fire and fury I can muster.
Okay, but you do not recognize the woman from my vision at all.
I do not.
So it still wouldn't make sense that she's targeting Paris unless she's older than Paris. Well, older than the current regime.
Possible.
Alright, can you give me the address of where the fire happened?
Of course. She pulls out a small notepad and jots down the address.
That's about the only lead we have. I'm not sure that's a smart place for me to investigate, but it's all I can think of. Since she sort of just took my freelance associate who can go anywhere in Paris in the blink of an eye.
Good luck to you. We will drop you back off at Garrison's estate, where you will be able to recoup with your associates.
Thank you, madam. Madam Primogen.
You're welcome. After a tense remaining 15-20 minutes, you are eventually pulled up and released outside of the haven of Garrison Toussaint, at which point you will be able to reconvene with Isabel. But next up in the initiative order is poor Vern.
Okay.
Oh no, I don't like that you put poor in front of Vern.
I do.
Do we want to take our break now, or because break by my counting is 11 minutes, but it's 9:37. Do we want to take our break now and then reconvene with torturing the Nosferatu?
I think this is a good narrative stop.
It's a good narrative stop to take a break.
I'm surprised at how fun it was to watch Cherise roleplay with herself.
Oh, that was fantastic.
You think I put the offer on the table. All right, so thank you, ladies and gentlemen, who are watching us from home or watching us from the future. I hope you've enjoyed what's happened tonight. We're going to take ourselves a quick little break, and then we'll be back for more fun and adventure. Hopefully, possibly some violence. Maybe someone's going to die. Who knows?
But,
Drama.
yeah, this is our 10-minute break time chat, so get a drink, get a snack, make some real good ramen, and we will see you in a bit. Bye! Hello, chat. Welcome back. This is Magic Fish Radio, Eldritch Adversaries, a Vampire the Masquerade V5 game set in the roaring 1920s, where currently Paris is, was, and will be burning. My character just had a conversation with herself, and it is usually my policy to not clip my own channel, but this time I'll have to make an exception.
A fair exception to make.
Also, someone reported that they are having some trouble with channel points tonight. We use channel points for in-game buy-ins for player +1s, willpower, and crit conversion. We'll explain if it happens. And GM +1s. So I'm not saying you have to test out the channel point thing, but if anyone, oh, Pure Dark Nature, thank you for the +1 willpower for players.
You're welcome.
Okay, so, and Fadior redeemed a GM +1, so now you have 21 in your pool, sir.
Hey, my pool's old enough to drink.
Okay,
Hey.
so, all right, at least that didn't break down, unlike my character. I'm most shocked that she had a conversation with herself and everyone survived. There were no fatalities. Anyway,
Yeah, no
so,
fatality yet. Remain hopeful.
So, yeah, that happened. So now, back to the game, where the other players will hopefully get to play, and not me literally talking to myself for an hour and a half. Okay, it wasn't an hour and a half. But...
Yeah, you're only talking to yourself for 15 minutes. The rest of the time you spend talking with me. I know, that's torture in and of itself, but...
Also, in break, we had to... Wait, is the word nerd used in the 1920s?
Malkavians is fine.
Yeah. So, anyway, enough about me. Riza is now stepping into the hotel, and where's Vern?
Let's turn back the clock.
We don't have cell phones. I can't just tell Vern what. Oh no!
Some time ago.
Vern still thinks it's hunters. Oh no!
Rewinding time a little bit as the coterie divides, Riza heading out onto the streets of Pali. Isabel, not certain she'd be able to get information out of any of the people you're trying to get information out of, decides to sit and wait for when Garrison and any of the folks he calls on to show up so that Isabel can reveal what information she has. And Vern, you ride the elevator down into the depths to work the catacombs and talk to the Nosferatu. The elevator takes you down and halts with a clang. The attendant opens the doors and guides you out. You walk through these now growingly familiar tunnels and enter into the large meeting area where once you had seen the Nosferatu gather for a large and fantastic fight, and also for general concerned discussion over the several Nosferatu that had gone missing in the past evening. At this point in time, you see 3 Nosferatu currently milling about here talking, apparently having recently returned from their own searches of the city. It's your option if you want to talk to them or wander the catacombs. They haven't taken notice of you yet.
I assume my one usual acquaintance is not around then.
You do not see him at the moment, no.
Or his cat.
Philippe? Is that his
Philippe.
name? I was trying to look back at it and I was not fast enough.
Yep.
Okay. So he is not there. I'm gonna wander a little further and see if I can find Philippe, because I don't have
Strong
sort
enough
of
French?
Yeah, and I don't have a pre-established relationship with these guys. They aren't going to tell me anything necessarily.
All right. So you continue walking through. The 3 of them pay you no mind. You continue walking through the catacombs that run beneath the city of Pali. As you're moving through, you do hear the sound of boots in the tunnels. You hear the sounds of voices speaking French. As you occasionally turn your eyes down, you'll see a Nosferatu or 2 walking through, speaking to each other. You'll hear the sound of creaking doors or manhole covers being lifted and replaced as people move from the sewers of Paris into the catacombs. So you can see the Nosferatu are currently abuzz moving through the catacombs up into and out of in order to move about the city and gain their information. Make me a... Well, no, this isn't really so much of a... It's really so much of a wits awareness to see if you notice him. After looking about for... call it about an hour and a half, you eventually wind up stumbling into a Nosferatu, who you recognize as being one of the folks who was very, very happy you won that fight. And he turns and looks at you and goes, "Hey, Vern!
Hey,
What,
I was looking for Philippe, but I can't seem to find anyone in particular down here.
Very busy, very busy. Philippe est what is word in English? Merde. As he continues to struggle trying to think of the proper word in English to tell you where to go or where to meet up with him. And he's hunting. And he just grabs you by the shoulder and starts leading you down through the catacombs.
All right.
The universal language of shoving someone in the right direction.
Yeah.
In this case. And he leads you, and as you well know, when moving through the sewers or catacombs of a city, the Nosferatu become intimately familiar with them. You are very familiar with how the underground of Boston works. Like, there are kindred who have been there longer, who know their way around better, but you can easily get your way from one end of the city to the other without being seen at all. But it's really kind of weird to see it from the outside and have absolutely zero familiarity with it. Like, even when you were first embraced, you kind of felt like you understood at least a little bit how the underground of Boston worked the first time you were brought down. But here, it's a very foreign terrain. It's familiar but different, but you're just watching this one kindred move through, pulling you along, making left here, right here. It's almost surreal to watch him just pull you along. It's like he's on tracks, but clearly he's not. Eventually he comes to a ladder, and he directs you to go up. And at the top is a wooden basically a door that is above the ladder that closes it off from the surface.
Thank you.
Yeah. Go.
I will go.
You climb the ladder and you come to the wooden gate. It's a bit of effort to get it open, but you get it open and you climb up. And you find yourself stepping into what looks like a storage room of some kind. There are boxes and crates stacked up. As you turn around, you realize the reason why this door felt so heavy is because to the top of this door is actually fastened a crate and then a smaller crate on top of it to look like that it just belongs there so that no one would think twice about it.
I see. So I'll pull myself out into the storage room and close the crates behind me and look around, I guess.
All right. I mean, everything in here it's not dusty, like someone's come through and like tidied it up a little bit, but it also looks like this is a place that people don't spend more time in than they have to. Like, as you look around, all the boxes are fake. Like, they're real crates, but they're not actually holding anything. Like, if anything, like some of them contain like just empty glass bottles, old clothes. It looks like a Nosferatu quick stash for just stuff and junk that they pick up or would otherwise use for some reason or another. There is one door to this room that leads outside.
Guess I will take that door then.
All right. The door opens up and you find yourself out in a hallway. And as you step out into it, you get this immediate sensation, because there's just something about certain types of architecture that just have you go and say, oh, this is a X. And the instant you open that door and take a look at this architecture, your mind automatically goes, this is a sanitarium. This is a hospital for the mind. The architecture is immediately revelatory of this. The instinct comes in immediately.
Okay.
Fewer Malks control sanitariums than you would think. You see, the Malks don't want to torture the people in there.
True. We have our secret hospitals where we're trying to find ways to actually help people.
Or to encourage certain madnesses, because Malkavian.
We rescue people from places like this and then have...
Now, you see, some Shemise or some Tremere, or in some cases, some La Sombra, or those who practice the necromantic arts, they are more likely to use places like this. But these are also good places for Nosferatu to feed, because much like the gatherings of homeless, no one's really looking that hard and that concerned when they're looking a little pale. So if the Nosferatu have connections, it's a good place to feed. You know that there are Nosferatu that would feed on long-term care patients in hospitals back in Boston. So this doesn't surprise you overly much. What does surprise you as you step out is this is night, yes. And you clearly get the impression that this is a mental institution of some kind. It's the silence that gets you. Like, this is a hospital. There should still be noises of people walking, milling about. The moans of some people of mental affliction or another howling in the night because of trauma or nightmare. But the instant you step out, it is eerily silent.
I'm going to obfuscate myself.
Okay.
I'm just going to pick a direction and walk and hope for the best.
Okay. Make me a wits awareness check as you're walking down. Actually, real quick, I need to check something with obfuscate, because if you're going to do something to yourself, I need to know if you need to roll a rouse check for that.
Right. I don't actually remember.
That's why I'm double checking. Let's see. You were using what, Cloak of Shadows?
Probably Unseen Passage.
Unseen Passage. You need to make me a rouse check real quick.
All right. It's a 3.
Okay, so you gain a dot of hunger.
Yeah.
You draw on the beast's power, but you're less subtle about it, which makes sense. You're concerned. You're nervous. This is
I am extremely on edge right now.
Oh, yes.
All right, so wits awareness then.
Yeah, wits awareness, yes, please.
I can do math. Pick up the right number of dice would be nice.
I mean, that's usually helpful.
Yeah. All right, that's 3 successes.
Okay.
No 10s, no 1s, so.
That's great. So as you're walking through the hallway, and you're trying to keep your ears pricked, your eyes open, keeping yourself invisible, you walk past these doors on the inside wall that would lead to offices or some other waiting room or something. And as you sort of peek inside, some of them have the small glass windows. And as you peek inside, like, oh wow, there's this, everything's like vaguely tidy, but there's this absence of life. It's almost like it's an abandoned sanitarium that someone's still keeping clean. Like everything is too tidy, but you know, even when something's tidy, there should be like a mug left out on the counter or something, or like a book that's left open, then like face down because someone had to get up to do something. And the lights are all pretty much off. It's all just light from the moon outside that's illuminating anything at this point.
So is it like everything's staged, kind of?
Staged, possibly, or someone's been a really tidy squatter. But as you continue to move down and look outside the window to see the to check out on the outside, you see the wind blowing through the trees and causing them to rustle. The glass is not so thick that you should not be able to hear that wind, but you hear nothing.
Is there something magic going on here?
I mean, you can attempt to make, in this case, I would call this wits occult. Because now you're trying to suss out if there's any sort of vague clue of magical effect here.
What do I do with no dots in occult?
You just roll your wits.
Okay. That was what I thought. Wanted to double check there wasn't a penalty or something.
Not for this.
That is 3 successes and one of them was a 10.
Okay. Was that 10 on your hunger die?
Yes.
Okay. So you're on edge. Your beast is on edge. You feel it roiling in the back. Your muscles tense. You're ready to bolt. This has got to be something magic, or this has got to be some manipulation of discipline powers. This has got to be something. And your beast is so on edge that by reflex and instinct, you dodge out of the way as a projectile flies silently past where your head was and embeds itself in the wall. Again, silently. And as you turn, there is a figure there in a long brown coat with a crossbow in hand. And they pull another large wooden projectile to load into the crossbow.
Oh, man. Hunters.
I'm out of here.
Oh, no.
All right.
Nope.
Nope.
Oh, no.
Well, I guess you found the hunter.
I guess.
So you take off running. All right. You run down to the end of the hallway away from the hunter. The hallway veers to it terminates and turns to the right. I assume you go barreling down to the right.
Yeah.
All right.
I'm going back the way I came if I can, because I don't know how to get back elseways.
The direction of where you
Oh,
came.
crap. Okay.
So you have to run further into this hospital in order to get away from it. So you run down the right. You're running. There are windows to the outside. There are, again, doors here that are leading into other parts of the hospital. As you look outside, you can still see the wind whipping through the trees, but you can hear nothing. You can't hear their footsteps, but you can feel their pressure behind you. When you do cast your eyes backward, you see them running. You're making distance at this point because your celerity is giving you an edge. But they are, or at least I assume you're using celerity.
Yeah.
You need to use a rouse check for your celerity. That's important.
Yeah. That's a risk I'm willing to take.
Let me double check this. So you wouldn't be using Cat's Grace.
Rapid reflexes is what I've got marked on my sheet.
Which is absolutely no check. So.
Okay.
Which also causes you to suffer no penalties to range attacks when you. So yeah, you are running, and this figure knows that they'll have difficulty firing while running, so they're waiting for a good clear shot. The hallway now leads you into this large open area where it looks like the hospital has probably had its major entranceway. As you burst in, to your left are a set of large double doors that looks like it would be the entrance. To your right, there is a desk where someone would normally be seated in order to discuss with clients or for the intake of new patients or the signing of outtake of other patients. Another hallway continues on down around the rest of the building, and there are doors leading further in and stairs leading up to a second floor. They're gaining on you, Vern. What do you do?
I want to hide up behind the desk. Do I have an opportunity to put myself somewhere without them seeing?
If you turn to the right and head towards the desk, there'll be a brief moment where you're out of their sight. So you will be able to you can have a chance to hide under there and hope that they will check through one of the doors first. So you need to make me a dexterity athletics check to make sure that you're able to clear the desk without causing too much of a disturbance and hide.
Okay, that's 3 successes.
Okay. With 3 successes, you turn hard right. Run. Quick, dodge back. And you get behind. And you sit there, quietly, breathing heavy. Not that you need to, but your reflex. You sit there, you try to listen. At this point, even as a kindred, your heart would normally thunder out of, again, just the reflex of what you should be feeling in life. You feel it thud, but you don't hear it the way you should. You don't hear that hammering in your ears of your heart going, but you can feel it in your chest, which is a very unsettling experience for you. And as you're sitting there, coiled down, again, going to the point of you can't even tell if they're close, if they're walking up to you, walking away, because you cannot hear their footsteps. Something occurs to you. You were obfuscated. And he almost caught you in the head with that stake.
Yeah.
Hunters are fucked up. This is why we hate hunters. We hate them a lot.
It's at this point that something goes sailing overhead, and you see the licks of flame of fire. You don't hear the sound of it shatter on the other side, but you can see the sudden flash and the light on the side of fire spreading. And suddenly, in an instant, sound comes back as you hear the sound of doors slamming and a large metal lock clinking into place and flame igniting on the other side of the desk. Welcome. What would you like to do, Vern?
Okay, so the fire is on the other side of the desk.
Yes, you can see the
from
light
where I'm
on the
hiding,
walls.
and I can see the reflection on the walls.
Yes.
And I've heard doors slam. Was that presumably something the hunter did, or are there other people here now?
You heard the sound of the doors slamming and then a metal lock clicking into place. It sounded like someone may have opened the front doors.
Okay.
So that's
What do you do?
that's a real bastard of a hunter for just leaving the vamp to burn to death. Also,
Yeah.
not all that efficient.
I can
Naughty
theoretically
hunter.
keep running if he's gone.
Do you stand up?
I think I'm gonna stay as low to the ground as I can behind the desk until I can get to an edge of it to make a break for another direction.
Okay.
So I assume this is like a big lobby type desk, and there's probably a door kind of thing at the end, right? Like I can stay low for a little while.
Yes, you can. Look at this fucking Christ. Right. So you keep low and you come to the edge of the desk. And as you begin to peer your head out, you hear the kathung, and you manage to pull back just in time as now this long metal rod jams itself into the ground, exploding the tile work.
Oh crap.
Get out, you fucking leech! You're not hurting anyone else today. You hear the sound of the crossbow being pulled back and another bolt being loaded.
Distracted
I wanna-
with whiskey.
Where are the other doors or stairs relative to me?
So if you were to bolt out from behind the desk, there's a set of double doors to the left and to the right, maybe 15, 20 feet away from you. Well, one's slightly closer because you're to the edge of the desk. So that one's maybe 10 feet away. The other one now is closer to like 30, 35.
Okay.
The base of the stairs is a little bit closer to him.
Okay.
But again, to just get onto the stairs, if you were to make a successful athletics check, you could probably leap from the desk over the railing to the stairs and then go up. That's something that you could also try if you wanted to try escaping upwards rather than trying to run past the fire to the 2 doors leading further into the hospital.
Oh, crap.
That's good to know.
I think I want to try for the stairs because that seems like my clearest path, even if it's a bit farther, right?
The stairs are, again, like 10, 15 feet. Like, if you were to just athletics up, it's probably like 20 feet up and across at a diagonal. But, I mean, yeah, the stairs themselves are probably physically about as close to you as the other door.
Okay. And I don't have to worry about the fire, though. I have to worry about going up.
Yes.
One of these seems like a lesser of the 2 evils, so that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to, while he's loading his second shot, bolt for the stairs.
Okay, Dex athletics check to jump from the desk off over the railing and up the stairs.
I'm going to use one of those player +1s.
Cool. Add a +1 to your pool. Do it.
I would like to not die today. Okay. We've got 4 successes. One of them is a 10, but I did roll a 1 on my hunger die. This is getting dire.
We've also got 2 willpower in the pool.
Willpower will allow you to re-roll up to 3 die that are not hunger die.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
So if you want to re-roll die that didn't work, you can burn a willpower to try and do that to see if you get more successes. But I will say that was enough successes.
Yeah. Not going to help me on this roll, but good to know.
So you're just like, scramble, desk, grab the railing, bolt over. You're a fucking monster! As you hear him start, like, whatever has prompted the silence has faded. And he can see you clear as day still, but you are running up these stairs. You get to the 2nd floor, and there is this bit of the floor where there is several windows that look down onto the lobby area. So as he is running for the stairs, he fires up. And it misses you entirely. It fires behind you, but it blows out the glass window that you had just passed and embeds itself in the ceiling and passes straight through it, because this is not tile work that makes up the ceiling. So it just and is probably sticking out now on the floor of the floor above you as you continue to run.
Is there a clear path to get out of this building, even if I have to, like, jump from the 2nd story?
I mean, you can continue down this hallway. There's a window right there at the end where the hallway would split off to the left and right. So you can just go straight through that window.
I'm going for it.
Cool. At that point, make me a strength athletics check to make sure that you are strong enough to actually break through the window, because I assume you're not ceasing your stride.
No. These rolls are getting increasingly bad.
Strength athletics, break through the
Where's
window.
Ace when we need him?
I think, can I use another one of those player +1s?
Sure. They're there to be used.
Yeah. I will refresh them when I can actually spend my channel points on them again. That is 5 successes, 2 of them were 10s, and one of those was on a hunger die.
All right. You are panicked. There is fire. There's a hunter. The beast is running. You have, at this point, you're not frenzying, but more of your legs are coming from the beast's will to run than necessarily from yours, though it's getting hard to tell the difference at this point. And you run, you run, you run. You charge up, arms in front. Bam! The window shatters outward. Glass and metal framework raining down in the wind. And you fall down. Bam! Hard into the ground. It's the 2nd time you've run through a window. Except this is running away from something instead of towards something.
I live for defenestration.
As you turn back to look up, the hunter has caught up to the window, and they are pointing the crossbow down at you. However, it is at this point that the hunter then goes flying out the window himself, with another figure clinging to his back. And they slam into the ground, and you hear bone shatter as you hear the hunter begin to gurgle on his own blood. And then you watch as Philippe starts to pull himself up, and forming a half fist with his knuckles, comes down and bam, right into the back of the neck, severing it.
Wait, did Philippe just use Vern as bait?
Potentially.
Okay.
To be fair though, I was gonna be running regardless, so like
That's fair.
I won't hold it against him if that's the case.
Ignore me, I'm not there. I'm talking to myself.
Vern? What the hell are you doing here?
Someone told me I could find you here.
Oui. I came here to investigate. This is where several of our kindred were holed up before they vanished.
Investigation complete, I guess? Holy shit!
I was coming through, and all of a sudden I started hearing voices on the far side of the facility. And as I come round, I hear the sound of shattering glass, and I see this lunatic gesturing to the still partially bubbling, bloody pool beneath him. What the hell happened?
He almost shot me!
But why did you come here looking? I told you to stay out of this. This doesn't concern you.
Yeah, well, turns out it kind of does. Anyway, I came looking for information. Didn't really know what you were up to. The guy I talked to was not exactly conversant in English.
Oh, milk. All right. Well, we should probably get going. Ah, damn it! As he falls to one knee, and you see that the hunter has planted a knife into Philippe's calf.
Jesus.
And you hear the sound of bones snapping back into place.
Holy crap!
As the hunter stands up, his flesh beginning to tear. And as the flesh on his face begins to tear, you notice as these tiny little cuts that form start intersecting, and they start forming symbols on his skin. Well, so much for the hunter angle. Guess I'll just have to silence the witnesses.
The fuck?
I did wonder. Okay, we thought it was
Vern,
hunters, now it's worse. Run!
What did you think I was doing?
Vern, I need you to make me a resolve plus... What would this be? This would be... Yeah, I need you to make me... This would be a resolve athletics check.
Oh,
To
good.
resist what's about to happen.
Great. Love that. 2 successes. No ones.
Fortunately,
Thankfully.
that doesn't beat his 4.
Crap.
So as his chest reinflates and the neck finishes aligning itself correctly, he holds out one hand. And you try to make a bolt for it, but you feel your muscles seize. You try to will your body to move, but it feels like the blood in your veins that enters into your muscles is all slowly turning to ice, keeping you immobilized. Philippe tries to... Lost the die.
Philippe throws his dice on the floor. Oh no.
Philippe attempts to swing at the figure in question with 2 successes. And his attempt to dodge is 5 successes. Oh, so Philippe tries to swing out at him, and he just lifts his leg out of the way. Which now brings us back to your turn in the initiative order. You can attempt, at this point, another Resolve Athletics check to resist the effect that is currently being imposed upon you. To find the mental fortitude to make your body move.
Okay. I guess I will do that then. No successes. This is...
So unfortunately, you remain impaired. Is at this point your assailant attempts to do the same, apparently, to Philippe, holding out his hand in a similar fashion. That is 3 successes for him. And for Philippe, the holy Jesus. So Philippe freezes for a second, but then with his, I can't believe I'm saying this right now, his 9 successes.
Philippe is the new ace. Yay!
Holy crap, Philippe. I love you.
Philippe!
Is able to push back the effects of what's happening and attacks the assailant, getting him into a tussle, making it more difficult for him to focus on using his abilities on you. So you may make a Resolve Athletics check to break free again, but you gain a bonus die because
Yay.
he's focusing.
Okay, dice, don't fail me now. 3 successes.
3 successes compared to his. Yep. You managed to beat that, so you are finally free of his grasp.
Okay.
Your blood no longer feels like it's frozen in your veins and muscles, but you are just feeling cold down to the bone.
Okay.
That's another player +1.
Decided there's a problem with my browser.
And another one.
Anyway.
No problem.
So, you have been set free. Do you wish to take an action during this turn?
I'm deciding if I want to try getting into this fight or if I want to run.
But Philippe is not able to hold the advantage because of the knife in his calf, and you can see that his assailant is beginning to overpower him because his stance is
okay,
not
then I'm going to help fight. Can I attack this guy and try to grapple him?
You want to grapple him? You want to
brawl the shit out of this thing?
You want to?
I want to grapple him.
Yeah, no, that's fine. That would be a.
What mechanically does a specialization in a skill do?
It adds another die to your roll.
Okay. Cool. Then if I am grappling him, I do good.
Yeah,
hopefully.
So this would be strength brawl.
Okay.
Against his dexterity brawl, which is 1 die better, but he technically loses that die because he's currently in a melee with Philippe. Depending upon how you roll, he might not need it.
That is 5, and one of them was a 10.
Your 5 just loses out to his 6.
God damn it!
you try to get under his arms and lock him down, but as he's fighting off Philippe, he just bashes you in the face with his elbow.
Oh.
And it, like, you don't sustain any real damage from it, but it manages to knock you back and keep you off your feet. He is now more concerned with dealing with Philippe at the moment. And
I like that expression.
He just starts smiling at Philippe. And then Philippe starts screaming his pain as white fire begins to explode from his leg where the knife is embedded. And Philippe falls to the ground, trying desperately to pull the knife out of his leg, but the fire keeps forcing him to pull his hand back. let's see how Philippe does in this instance to try and pull the knife out. That is 0 successes.
No!
No!
So Philippe keeps trying to reach for the knife to pull it out, but he is losing focus quickly. And I actually should probably be rolling his frenzy right now to see if he frenzies. Does he frenzy? No, he does not frenzy. Jesus fucking Christ. 2, 4, 6, 8, 9. 9 successes to resist frenzy.
Philippe's not out yet. He's like, nope.
All right, which brings us back to you, Vern. What are you doing?
Trying again at grappling this motherfucker.
Cool. Strength plus melee. Strength plus plural, rather. Is...
Oh dear.
What'd you roll, Vern?
And I got a 1 on a hunger die, which means I'm at 4 hunger.
Cool. Well, you doubled the successes that he had. So
Okay.
you successfully grapple him, which also puts his neck in easy range of your teeth.
Yeah.
Diablerie.
I mean, no one would even give it a second thought if you did.
Let's go.
Let's go.
Cool. You know what? Make me a strength roll check to get into his neck.
Isabel drank Fabla. That's a terrible idea. What could possibly be worse than that? Well, fuck.
If we have just solved the crime, it'd be really funny if we just solved the crime right now by doing Diablerie.
I'm telling you right now, you're taking a piece off the board if you succeed in this.
That was 4 successes.
Vern.
Oh yeah,
Vern's
you were able to
life,
sink your teeth in.
Yeah.
Fine.
if Vern Diablerizes this guy, if it works the same as it did in previous editions, Vern's life's gonna get a lot weirder.
Oh, good.
You
Real
might
quick.
have your own Smeagol moment.
What generation is this vampire?
We don't know yet.
Real quick, what's your strength rating?
2.
Okay. So that's all right. You sink your teeth in and you draw deep. And you drain. He's not gone, but you are. You know, you committed your first death by drain here in Paris. And it was a euphoria you had never before experienced.
This was like 3 days ago.
And now you wonder why people are like concerned about it. And then you wondered how people could be thinking that Diablerie was so, it was a higher high than this. I can't even imagine. Now you no longer have to. This is quite possibly the sweetest vitae you've ever tasted. You feel your heart thundering in your chest. You feel your beast rising up, sliding its teeth in alongside yours, its tongue driving yours to lap up and suck as much of this sweet nectar can be pulled from this tree. Your beast is famished, and so are you. It's his turn to try and escape.
Yeah.
It'd be really funny if we can interrogate the bad guy because he's living in Vern's head now.
So, that is what we like to call a critical failure.
Oh no!
The dice gods
Oh,
have
yes.
decided that Vern.
Now you see, in this particular instance, I'm not going to have you roll against this critical failure because this was a critical failure. In the course of trying to draw on his own beast in order to do this, because now you are quite certain that this is a kindred that you are currently feeding on.
I wasn't sure when I made this decision, but I am now.
You feel his beast try to rise to meet yours, and you feel your beast sink its teeth into its throat. There is a moment where you find yourself on a vast and empty field, your teeth still buried in the neck of your opponent, and you catch a glimpse of the beast, that which dwells within the hearts and souls of all kindred. This mighty predatory monstrosity, traces of humanity in its form, but walking like some great and malicious apex predator. And you watch as this towering monstrosity wrestles down another, its teeth buried in the neck, its large clawed hand pressed down on the chest. You hear the bone shatter. You hear the death gargles of this other beast as Vitae begins to bubble out of its mouth. And then, almost as if in submission to the desire to not waste the Vitae, you watch as it is slowly pulled back in, as the essence of it is drawn into the beast. You are given a front row seat to what Diablerize looks like on the spiritual plane. You watch as it consumes the beast in its entirety, and its form begins to shrink to be closer to yours. And it turns and stalks back, tense muscle moving under its night sky skin, stars twinkling as it moves closer. 2 giant moons, craters catching and reflecting the night light for eyes. And it comes and stalks around you, before nestling in behind you, wrapping its arms around almost like a lover, but then sliding back into where your body is, fusing back in with you as your victim goes limp in your arms and slowly turns to ash and bone. During this time, Philippe has succeeded in pulling the knife out of his leg.
Oh, good.
What do you do?
And throws it away as he turns now in time just to focus as your opponent disappears and the bones clatter to the ground in the clothing, and the bones themselves begin to decay and collapse. Vern, I need you to make me a willpower check, please.
Okay. How does a willpower check work? Remind me.
You roll a number of dice equal to the points of willpower you have available. If you spent any, that means you take one out of the pool. You do not roll hunger die for a willpower check.
Okay.
Phew. That would be awkward.
Well, it also wouldn't matter because there is no hunger inside Vern at the moment. The beast has currently gone into hibernation from fasting.
0 successes.
Can you spend willpower to reroll a willpower check?
No.
Oh no!
No, Philippe! No! Oh no!
Oh.
The beast has gone into hibernation, but Vern has not. And Vern, you have never tasted something so good. You feel alive. You feel power like you've never imagined coursing through your body. And you catch the smell of it. There's Vitae.
That guy.
There's Vitae.
Oh no!
Oh
Oh no!
You hear a muted voice. Bird. As you stalk forward, make me a strength plus brawl check in an attempt to eat Philippe.
Gods! Things I do not want to do. Please fail, please fail.
I wonder what generation Vern is now.
With beating him by
Oh no!
one success, because he rolled 2 successes.
Oh no!
You pin the injured Philippe to the ground, and attempt to jam your teeth into his neck.
GM, you have 21 plus ones to use.
Please use them for Philippe, I'm begging.
If
It is
Philippe
Philippe's
dies,
turn.
if Philippe ashes, we riot.
I'm burning a +1 to give Philippe a marginally better chance to fight you back. That fell.
I am willing to take whatever social consequence comes my way for this. I don't want him to die.
All right. Philippe is attempting to fight back, so make me an opposed check.
Will that still be strength brawl?
In this instance, yes.
Okay. Shit. That's 7.
Oh
7 successes.
I rolled
is
3
impressive.
10s.
You rolled 3 10s for 7 successes. That's impressive. That's very impressive. And under normal circumstances, that would matter.
Oh.
Yeah.
But you see, Philippe rolled 12 successes.
Oh,
with
good.
Philippe
Oh, 4
is
10s, rather.
Philippe is the new
Potions.
ace. All hail the new ace.
So he is able to get your teeth onto his jacket, rolls over and slams you to the ground, and starts demanding that you get a hold of yourself, and he clocks your head into the ground. Make me a willpower check. Four successes is enough. You come down off your Diablerie high,
Good.
and you're just like, oh, sweet Jesus, what have I done?
I'm sure he can see the fear and horror and revulsion on my face. I hope he can.
But also a little bit turned on.
I'm going to admit, I don't necessarily mind that you did what you did. However, coming after me like that, I don't appreciate, and that was a little weird.
Very sorry. I did not mean to.
Yeah, better question. Why did your eyes turn black?
They what?
Your eyes turned black, and then you tried to eat me. Why did they do that?
I don't know. I don't know what just happened. The guy was trying to kill you, so I fought him. He's very dead.
Yeah, I noticed. I noticed. Okay, but you're good now, right?
Yeah, I'm good now.
Okay, good.
Just going to sit here.
As Philippe rolls off of you and he's laying there on his ass and his elbows, and he's looking at you like, could you never do that again, please?
We'll never do that again.
We will never speak of this again.
It is at this moment that you hear the sound of a pair of gloved hands applauding.
Oh, that's never good.
As a man with light brown hair and very bright green eyes is standing there in a dark blue, very formal attire with a
200.
black cloak pulled over his shoulder with a matching deep blue satin inlay to the suit he's wearing. Considering how long he was in reserve, I genuinely expected him to work a little bit better, but this worked fine just as well. Good to see you again, Vern. I'm so glad you're living up to expectations. I look forward to seeing how you and the rest wind up here. Oh, there was debate on whether or not you'd follow and get involved, but here you are. The letter was a bit of a gamble, I admit, but it's so nice that you decided to come along. And he just starts to take a step back, and then he just seems to trip and fall backwards and falls into the shadows and vanishes.
I'm looking at Philippe like, did you just see what I just saw?
We. Who the fuck is that?
Do I know who that is?
No. Never seen
Okay,
it before in your life.
cool. Just double checking that Dracus wasn't just like totally blanking on something.
You know
No
what?
idea.
Time travel
Make a-
bullshit.
Make a. What would this be? This would be you know what? We'll call it wits awareness for this, because he said leaving you the letter might not necessarily, entice you all to come along or to follow. So make a wits awareness check to see if you can piece together what the hell he could be talking about.
That is 4 successes.
I mean, you don't receive a lot of mail. I mean, the last technical piece of mail you will remember receiving, aside from the tickets to come on this payday from the prince at all, was that thing left back at the professor's after the whole thing was cleared out, that was left by Königsmacher. The one who left so polite a note saying thank you for leaving the door open and killing all the people the prince had left behind as he looted the warehouse.
Oh.
So now we're going to cut to Isabel.
Yeah.
Hi. Yes. Hello.
Well,
Isabel's having a martini in the hotel bar.
But before we cut to Isabel, is there anything else you want to ask to Philippe, or at this point is it a case of Philippe, get me back? I need to speak to everyone now.
It's the second thing.
So you and Philippe are like, we go. So Isabel, you've been left alone.
Mm-hmm.
You get it. You understand. Like, the Nosferatu aren't as likely to open up to you. The Malkavians aren't as likely to open up to you. But Vern, your dear brother, and Riza, probably the best friend you've ever had in your life. Your heart aches just thinking about how much you'd love to be standing by her side right now. But no, you have a duty put forward to you by Riza in order to speak to Garrison and any of his associates that come forward with a need to speak to you. And so you wait, and you wait. You've been left alone now about an hour and a half before there's a knock at your door. Could it be Vern? Could it be Riza? Could they be back already? What do you do?
Well, of course, I answer the door. It's only if there's a knock at the door, it's only polite.
You open the door and you are greeted by staring into the chest of a very tall man. He's maybe 6'7", and he's almost as broad in the shoulders as you are tall. If ever there was an image to describe a Bruja, you just met it.
Isabel puts on her her pleasantest smile and says, "To what do I owe the pleasure, good sir?"
Wie geht's, Fraulein? My employer would like to have a word with you, please.
Well, I can't exactly say no to that. Who is your employer, good sir? I wasn't expecting to run into a fine Prussian man such as yourself.
My employer would prefer to speak to you in the office upstairs. Please.
Of course. And he's referring to Monsieur Toussaint's office, yes? Or is there another office upstairs that I'm unaware of?
As far as you know, that entire floor is Toussaint's office and home.
Monsieur Toussaint's office?
It is his currently. Yeah.
Certainly. Shall I show you up there?
Nine, I know where it is. And he turns and leaves a sweeping arm motion to allow you to come out. As you step out into the hallway, you are greeted by 3 less extremely large people but again, based on their builds, you go, if you assholes aren't Bruja, the Bruja are pissed they didn't get you. They are all dressed very, very formally, however. But being a person of fashion and design as you are, you can see that the cuts aren't quite as form-fitting as they should be.
As if they were...
They're designed to look like formal attire, but they're also designed to move in. Combat formal attire, if you will.
I see.
And
So
you are now escorted to the elevator.
The kind of thing that, like, you know, bouncers wear, like at formal events and such.
Yeah, that might not be a terrible way of putting it.
Yeah, I've seen this. I've seen this before.
And the four of them guide you into the elevator, and it's a little cramped in here right now, but they basically form a barrier around you as the elevator goes up.
So a bit like that scene in Captain America.
Except for they're not, you know, going after Captain America. They're going after this, you know, tiny little.
Oh no!
When the elevator stops and the doors open, you are greeted to see several men and women, all dressed very similarly. Some tending to firearms, some tending to bladed weapons, sharpening, polishing, cleaning, reloading. Some are even hand packing their ammunition. As you are escorted to the office that you know as belonging to Garrison Toussaint. The four secretaries that are normally extremely busy, speaking in different languages and working telegraph machines and telephones, they are all currently off to the side, speaking with a familiar Nosferatu attendant. They don't seem to be in trouble, though they are... the four girls are looking around a little nervously. The Nosferatu is... He doesn't seem annoyed or anything. He's concerned, but he nods his head to some of these other individuals, and they nod back as if they are familiar with each other. The largest of the four individuals opens the door, and sitting behind the desk is not Garrison Toussaint. Garrison is currently standing next to the chair, and he is speaking to a man currently sitting in the chair. They are speaking in French as you enter.
Daddy's home.
And as the door opens and as you enter, the gentleman in the chair stands up.
God damn it.
Just a little bit longer. He stands up and he goes, "Good evening, madame. My name is Hubert Fiontelli. I am the former representative of this branch of the Sable cartel. And I understand that there has been some terrible occurrences with which you are intimately familiar. Please, I am very curious if you could bring me up to speed." And then the doors close behind you. And I'm sorry we didn't give you a lot of time, Ari, but that also feels like a really good place to end narratively.
Totally. Hey, it means I get next week all to myself and plenty of time to plan for what the heck.
Or at least the first hour or so of it.
Cue roundabout.
So yes, I hope everyone enjoyed that. Unfortunately, this is something that does happen when you wind up splitting the party. Sometimes things take longer for some people than others.
I am not bothered because, again, Vern just did a Diablerie, which okay, I'm going to point out, if all of us were together, that was significantly less likely to have happened. Because we would have been able to get away easier.
Theoretically.
Possibly.
So, does Diablerie work in V5 like it does in previous editions, where it decreases one's generation?
It can.
Okay.
It can, depending upon the generation of those involved and a few other factors. We will discuss the effects. We will discuss the effects of this Diablerie when the effects begin to manifest.
Oh God!
Well, you have to remember, the effects of Diablerie don't automatically just happen.
Yeah.
There is a...
Depends on who you Diablerize, but okay.
Yeah, yes, it's very different if you Diablerize a Methuselah or an Antediluvian. But even then, the full transformation, the full mutation of the effects doesn't finish automatically. Except being an Antediluvian, but even then, it still takes one period of rest for that to finish. In this case, the early stages of the effects of your Diablerie have kicked in. What happens to you after this, once it finishes, we can get into after you finish your next rest. Or we can discuss it over the course of the week.
You're a beautiful butterfly.
I'm sure making some decisions.
Decisions were made.
I'm
so glad I forced myself out of Spoonie problems to play tonight.
Yeah.
This was delightful.
Christ.
And, you know, if I'm not playing a character who's making some bad and uninformed decisions, like, what am I even doing?
Exactly.
This is probably going to go down as the episode I push towards people like, oh, what's your V5 game like? It's like this.
Yeah.
Yeah, you know what? Actually, before we close off for the night, there are a couple of aspects of Diablerie we can probably take care of right now, so everyone else can get a taste of this.
Oh?
How does it taste?
First off, lose 1 point of humanity.
Okay.
Yup.
Secondly, you need to roll your humanity plus your blood potency, which I believe for you is a 1 at this point, against your opponent's resolve and blood potency. And we're going to see how many additional experience points you're going to get off of this.
Nice.
Ooh.
But those XP come at a price.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, I don't mean the humanity. Oh, there's gonna be more costs to come.
So how many successes did you roll?
4.
4. Cool. He rolled 0. So, from the book, they must roll a contest of humanity plus their own blood potency versus the victim's resolve plus blood potency. Every success rolled, even if the contest fails, gives the Diablerist 5 experience points to immediately spend on increasing blood potency to a maximum up to their victim's blood potency, or on disciplines known by the victim. So you now have 20 experience points to spend on affecting your blood potency or buying disciplines that your victim knew.
Mm-hmm.
I will probably want to.
Where?
Yeah, I will probably want to talk to you about that.
That's okay. Surprise us! Surprise us!
I have some other
surprise
questions
us.
about XP spend, so
I very much want to be surprised by this in game. So
this will be fun.
This is where the let's skip this part for now.
Yeah, Isabel's brother is the cool one.
And she has no idea. She hasn't been here for any of the chaos I've really caused.
Vern's whole thing's like, well, I guess I'll go see if my sire's around while we're trying to find out stuff in Vienna. Nope. You have begun a journey, my friend.
Oh yes, this is what I wanted.
See what happens when you take your chances.
I just wanted the guy to die, and that seemed like a fast way to do it.
You were right.
So, as a fun reminder, everyone does gain 3 experience points for this session, as you would receive for the end of every session.
Yes.
Vern, you gain 23 points for this session.
I
actually haven't spent points at all. I think I have 12 unspent points. I should probably spend those.
Yeah, you can spend those.
Yeah.
I think it's safe to say
honestly,
Vern earned those 23
points. Totally.
I did.
By
yes.
Philippe and I almost died for this.
Holy shit.
So Vern is the villain of the next arc. No, maybe. We'll see.
Yeah.
Okay, well, chat, all 2 of you that remain, which might just be us watching ourselves. I pity the fools who quit watching for whatever reason. I hope they catch up on the VODs because that was wild. This was a wild ride. Thank you, John.
So,
Yes.
is this about how early Diablerie usually happens in a vampire campaign?
Oh,
It
well, I mean,
depends
to
on
be
the
fair, it
campaign.
can happen for a session. Like,
True.
I have been in 2 games where one player attempts to Diablerize another member of the coterie right in the first session because
Okay, but that
that's
seems
just how
kinda-
they are.
It just seems kind of shitty to do to another player for a session.
I mean, to be fair, they were playing into the fact that they were a Diablerist addict.
Was this a Sabat game?
No, they were just a Diablerist addict.
Yeah, so if it was...
Is this like the old Assamite flaw where they were like all Diablerist addicts until the old Dark Ages Assamite flaw before the Blood Curse, and then I guess
There was
that
an
again.
Assamite in the coterie, but no.
Wasn't that guy?
Well, no.
As a matter of fact, the Assamite is the one who prevented one of the attempts at Diablerie.
Oh, nice.
The other attempt at Diablerie actually happened, but he was able to hide it from the rest of the coterie, so no one knew. They just knew that one of their coterie members went missing, which prompted the rest of the adventure. Incidentally, this is something the 2 players had worked out ahead of time.
Okay.
Fair enough.
We were being actively misled because the 2 of them had worked this out with the storyteller to go, okay, so I want to introduce this character. And I want everyone else to watch him Diablerize me. And then you guys wind up meeting my real character while in the course of trying to find the murderer of my old character. What the fuck is wrong with the 2 of you? Well,
Yeah, did you
we're
not
a similar
expect
level of fucked up. That's why we're dating.
Have you, sir, have you not met vampire players before, sir?
Listen, why would you ever be playing vampire if you weren't a little into like vor things? Okay, it's not actually vor. It's different. But I just thought it would be funny to say that. I'm sorry. We can cut this.
Yeah.
Got this.
Yes.
I would like to wrap up. We are after 11 and I have homework still to
Alright.
do tonight.
And
That's
I
like-
work tomorrow.
I tried to outro
Yeah.
and then we got sidetracked.
Yeah.
That's why
Well,
I keep
it
making
happens.
Well,
usually
chat,
unstitched things.
Again, all 2 of you still watching, which is probably us watching ourselves. Thanks for sticking around.
Thank you.
Tonight was a wild ride. Watch the VOD. Yikes. This
Yeah.
Was this was a trip.
You're welcome.
Thanks.
This was a trip. And Isabel probably gets to continue her trip next week.
Oh yeah. I don't think it's going to be nearly as fun as your 2, though.
Because
I
you
think you'll be surprised.
zero information to offer. Everyone else gets to make the dramatic reveal when they're eventually led upstairs.
Yep. Yeah, I'm kind of the worst character in this party.
Okay, so
You have 12 experience points to spend on fixing that.
It's true.
Yeah, I need to figure out what the hell I'm going to spend that on.
yeah, me too.
Anyway,
John, you're the GM. Can we find you anywhere other than here? Or is there anything you would like to plug that is not this channel? That is also okay?
Let's see. What would I like to plug? Well, I would like to plug Magic Fish Radio because these are wonderful people trying to put on wonderful entertainment. And hopefully everyone enjoys the shenanigans that we at least pull here on Tuesdays. I can't show up often for Saturdays because I'm doing other game stuff at that point.
That's fine.
As for stuff to plug, I guess since this is a V5 campaign, keep your eyes open for World of Darkness Nexus, which is going to be the online resource tool available for V5, which is supposed to drop at some point later this year, which will allow people to collate all of their digitally purchased books, and if it's going to function anything like D&D Beyond, build characters, and according to the demo stuff they have up, also help you find people to play with. So this is going to be a thing. It's also supposed to be compatible with the upcoming Werewolf 5th edition and Hunter 5th edition core books when those eventually release. And yeah, I guess that would be the most appropriate thing to plug for a V5 campaign at the moment, as I am not much of a content creator outside of here.
Okay. I'll go I'm I'm Chris. I've been playing Charisse and Riza all night. At one point, both at once. Clip it. Someone, please clip it so I don't have to. And yeah, I'm the channel producer and Angry Kermit of Magic Fish Radio, so if I'm not on every stream you see here, I am behind it running the annoying OBS. Whew. I'm at Miss Crizzle on social media, also at Magic Fish Radio. We are still looking for new players for our Tuesday night slot because there's room for more. At least one more, maybe a couple. We'll see. Then it's easier to keep playing if multiple people can't make it for a week, because, you know, life seems to keep punching us in the face this year, and it's only February. Keeps punching me in the face. So yes, join our Discord. There should be 8 bajillion links to our Discord in chat. Join our Discord if you're interested in gaming with us, or on every other Saturday night. So half the Saturdays we have Exit to Eden and What in Space, which I run as GM. On alternating Saturdays we have Indie Game Night, where people come in and run indie one-shots. If you are an indie RPG writer, publisher, illustrator, fan, and you want to run a one-shot module for us in 3 hours live on a stream, come talk to us on the Discord. We are up for it. We'll do a vibe check of your game, and then we're probably up for it. I mean, you know, as long as you're one of those chill gamers. Most gamers who approach us are pretty chill. So,
continuing to work backwards, Ari.
Hi, I'm Ari. I don't have any particular things to plug right now. I guess because we talked about it earlier, you should watch JoJo's Bizarre Adventure. Me and John were just into a debate as to which part is the worst part. But you should also watch read JoJo's Bizarre Adventure to determine what your opinion on which is the worst part of JoJo's Bizarre Adventure is. It genuinely is quite good. Give it a try.
Everyone has their favorite arcs. Dracus.
Yes.
Hi, I'm Dracus. I've been playing Vern, making questionable decisions. I might need to rethink how I introduce my character now.
I'm Vern, the party's resident exsanguinator.
Yeah.
The artist formerly known as Vern.
Yeah.
The Diablerist formerly known as Vern.
So, yeah, there's that. You can find me here on most Saturday games as well. In Eden, I play Klaus, our medic asshole mage. Just a little bit of a dick sometimes. But, yeah. I do some other stuff. I talk about it some on Discord, so if you're in there, probably hear about it.
And I forgot my other plug. On Thursday nights, you can find me on the channel We Are Nerdsmith, just playing a character and not running the game or the OBS, where I get to play a lovable dumbass barbarian Tabaxi, who last game just sort of ate her way across the hot dog stands of the Undercity of Ravnica. The game is called A Romp Across Ravnica.
Suddenly so disappointed I missed last week.
And now I'm remembering, I'm sorry, just when you said hot dogs in the Undercity of Ravnica, I just remembered that scene in Demolitions Man when he was downstairs eating the burgers in the Undercity, and his partner goes, "Do you see any cows down here?" What is this? Rat burger. One of the best rat burgers I've ever had.
Oh, that was the funny thing. There was a whole lot of... She's from the Selesnya Conclave, which are the tree-hugging hippies. Oh. And she had a whole thing about, so these hot dogs are made out of mushrooms, so they're like veggie dogs. It's awesome. I should bring to my vegan friends. And then we fought a mushroom monster. So the lines between vegetarian, omnivore, they're very blurred in Dungeons and Dragons, and probably doubly so in Ravnica. So
But you've not lived till you've had a shambling mound salad with Caesar dressing.
Vil, you see, I clearly need to play my cynic scientist character for this one. Vil, you'll see my friend. My friend suggesting merging humanities with 3 characteristics. Creates an interesting hybrid. You see, I don't think there's really any future in it. The Arboreals, yes.
We'll
technically
save
working-
your Shamise Simic hybrid for another time.
Yes.
We're working for a Simic, but we have an Izzet in the party.
Good.
And apparently the difference between Izzets and Simics is that Izzets really like explosions, and according to the Izzets, the Simics do not, because they're nerds. And it's a fun game. It's only going to be 10 episodes. You can really hop in at any time, and we're fun and ridiculous people, and I could just... I don't know if I'm going to get to do what I did tonight, but actually, based on her background, maybe that will happen to Moo, the Tabaxi Barbarian, as well. Anyway, I remembered this because I saw We Are Nerdsmith is streaming right now, so let's go raid them.
Sounds good.
Okay, bye.
Okay,
Bye, guys.
So got a few minutes for it to load. Again, thank you for watching. Whether in the future via VOD or live tonight, really catch up on this VOD. Whoa, what the fuck? Until we see you next, please take care of yourselves, take care of each other, and Diablerize responsibly.